So in last night's Champions League fixture between Liverpool and Atletico Madrid, Liverpool, well, I'm going to say squeaked through thanks to the worst player in the Premier League, Virgil van Dijk. It was a 5-goal thriller, Lukey Moore, a 92nd minute winner from VVD. They've now scored 4 goals in stoppage time this season. You literally cannot leave them well alone in the last 2 minutes of football matches, can you?
You can't. It's like leaving my son in the kitchen. You can't do it. You just cannot do it because eventually something will go wrong.
Danger everywhere.
Yeah, quite. I didn't think that. Like, for example, the other day I did it. He smashed a snow globe all over the kitchen floor, and we're still finding glitter. So anyway,
what a magical problem.
I didn't.
Why have you got a
this...
snow globe out in September? Just
basically because, and I will get to the game, but basically I love the fact that the producers say to us that it's really important that you get straight to the stuff because like YouTube viewers, they'll just drop off. We're doing snow globes, producer Rory, deal with it. Because when my mum, his nana, goes away anywhere, she gets him a snow globe from the location and he gets quite into them and they go up on a shelf in his room and sometimes he likes to hold them. And I didn't know that he had taken it into this slate-floored kitchen and there we go. Anyway, I didn't think this would be a 5-goal thriller because although Liverpool have looked vulnerable for the majority of the season so far, I'd say, I didn't think that they would look vulnerable after scoring 2 goals in 6 minutes, particularly how Atletico Madrid have started the season. And so it was a nice treat, really, because you're sitting there, you're going, okay, Robertson scores, kind of. But it's a goal. Salo scores, great goal, does his little Messi impression, which is great to see. And then you're sitting there on the sofa, watching for pleasure, but also for work. And I know what you guys were both thinking as well. You're thinking, right, when do I turn over? And how do I judge this? Because there's another game going on that I'd quite like to watch in the shape of Bayern Munich Chelsea, which we'll come on to. But if I turn over, I might miss something good here. Well, I didn't turn over, and I didn't miss something good here because it did turn out to be a far more interesting game than the first 6 minutes promised.
Certainly in the second half, and you sort of feel that Liverpool very much, they went 2 goals up, but they did let that lead slip. They did take their foot off the neck of Atletico Madrid and allow them to get back in it with 2 goals by Marcus Llorente. Salah at one point was odds on for finishing at 2-1, but he lashed it against the post, and I thought, you know what, this game could go either way.
That was a great move, wasn't it, Jim?
It was a beautiful move.
It was. It really, really was. I think the Llorente situation is very, very interesting because he scored 2 goals at Anfield in extra time to knock Liverpool out of the Champions League in 2020. Doesn't score a huge amount of goals. After he did that, he got a puppy, which he then named Anfield, which is sort of like incredibly like Atletico Madrid coded shithousery, and also slightly doesn't quite make sense because it's kind of shithousery in a second language in a way. And it's like he's kind of convinced himself that he can do anything he wants at Anfield. He's sort of got the keys to the city there almost, and he kind of played with a confidence that suggests he thinks there's some sort of kind of hex he has over the place, and it paid off. It's
like a football cliche's happy hunting ground. Isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
They do a big thing about happy hunting grounds, and Anfield definitely seems a happy hunting ground.
A dog-powered happy hunting ground.
He's got his hunting licence and his gun dog. Beautiful.
He has. And I think, imagine if it was a gun dog. That'd be great. Jim, do you know what breed of dog it is?
I don't actually.
You should, because you're a dog expert.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, dog enthusiast at least. But you know what? It is a really interesting part of modern football, isn't it? That players who go on these kind of streaky runs against teams that they obviously just start believing they can do it, right? The visualization thing is absolutely massive for a lot of top players. And I think clearly what helps with the visualization is being really successful in a previous fixture against that team or whatever. Yeah. It's no coincidence. I thought that Llorente, I think it was the second goal.
The volley.
When I first saw it, I thought it was an absolute rocket. I didn't see the deflection in the first instance, and obviously it's one of the most disappointing things in watching football, isn't it?
A lovely goal being spoiled by deflection.
It's taken a nick.
And it's taken a nick. It only has to be a slight nick to ruin the purity of it as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. And it's been Nick Jonas, doesn't it? A very slight nick.
Because the technique was so there, and it deserved better, to be honest. So I'm a little bit
I also, you know what? You can't start a game like Atletico Madrid did. particularly not against really good teams. You can't do that. Like it's so frustrating as a neutral, let alone as a fan of the team, to see your team kind of start like that.
Yeah.
But I do think that they did a really good job of making it stodgy for Liverpool in the second half. And I also think they were very fortunate with the first goal, because Griezmann clearly gives Atletico Madrid an advantage by making it hard for Alisson.
Surprised that stood, actually.
Well, you would be surprised in the first instance, but then you're just... Yeah, VAR is just administered at such at random that there's no point being surprised, because who knows what's going to fucking happen. They spent about 5 minutes looking at some handball VAR where the ball literally didn't go anywhere near the hand. Like, it was baffling.
Yeah.
So who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, that penalty that was that would have been absolutely scandalous if it was given. And actually, I thought the referee deserved some praise, because he let quite a lot of stuff go from both teams. And it actually helped the flow of the game, and it made it a much better spectacle.
You can't be, finicky about Atletico Madrid when their entire sort of plan for the game seemed to be kick Alexander Isak, which I know they're a quite spicy team, but it was very pressy and very kicky from Atletico Madrid and Liverpool. What are we learning about Liverpool in this match? I mean, I guess there's been a bit of criticism of Wirtz, obviously, but he, I thought, did some lovely work in the D of his own box. I think he's doing his best to unlock from deep, wasn't he?
I think you're right to mention him, because his development at Liverpool has been quite interesting. It's not been spectacular. It's not been hit the ground running and score and assist all over the place. But there's definitely signs. I've watched quite a lot of Liverpool this season. There's definitely signs that he's growing into it.
Yeah.
The game last night was definitely one of his better appearances. It's kind of interesting, because your original question was, what do we make of Liverpool? Well, just quickly on the Isak thing, I thought his link-up play was good last night. His movement was still there, and it was encouraging. He's clearly not fit. Slot said after the game it was always the plan to start him here and see how we go. So I imagine he'll improve as well. I mean, of course he will improve, because he's a good player, and he's way behind the rest of the team in terms of his fitness. So that there's going to be improvement there. But on Liverpool more broadly, interesting what Jim thinks, because for me, it's not a coincidence that they keep doing this. And I think you can, if you're a middling Premier League team and you get out of jail a few times, you say, okay, maybe that's a lucky streak and you can't rely on that. I just think when you're the reigning champions and the best team in the league, and you're bedding in quite a few important new players and playing slightly differently, and you still just find a way to pull things out of the fire, and in some cases you're not even that good and you still win, I just don't think it's a coincidence, right? They looked a bit vulnerable against Bournemouth, but they scored 4 goals. They got out of jail massively against Newcastle. Arsenal didn't show much ambition, but Liverpool got it done. They went away to Burnley, didn't really look like scoring. Burnley made it really difficult for them, like in a way. Burnley have kind of have built their entire recent success on being defensively solid. They score in the 94th minute, after Burnley have a man sent off by throwing everything at it, and then they do that last night. The momentum should have been with Atletico Madrid last night, coming back to 2-2, but it wasn't, because it's just not a coincidence, is it, Jim?
No, absolutely not. I think it's not them getting out of jail, is it? It's them really showing their quality, and they're still bedding in a decent number of new players. Obviously, Frimpong hasn't played that much. I think Wirtz is getting better and better, and you can see those connections, particularly with Salah starting to take shape. They're kind of reading each other's runs. As you say about Isak, not fit, barely trained, has a good performance in the first half. Hugo Ekitike comes on, feels like a sort of seasoned campaigner after like 4 or 5 games, because we've seen a bit more of him, and he's contributed a lot. He was probably unlucky not to score right at the death as well. The ball's come in at sort of uncomfortable height, but he's obviously hit the ground running as well. And the idea that this is as good as Liverpool are going to be is fanciful, isn't it? They're going to be way better than this, and I think it is just an example of the quality that they have all over the pitch. So they keep getting it done as well. And with the Burnley one, obviously that penalty comes really late, but it comes because they're just relentless in trying to make stuff happen. And that is how you make your own luck, isn't it? And the Robertson goal was interesting, wasn't it? Because that does feel like a massive slice of luck, and it feels like sometimes things like that go your way. But the Salah goal after it, possibly Atletico is still rattled. But he's got 3 players on him there. And it's not like he's really in space. He's had to wriggle his way through. He's being bustled the whole time. The technique to control the ball and get that shot away. I mean, that is absolutely superb, that goal. There have been some amazing goals in this round, and that is right up there. It's maybe not as kind of spectacular as some of the longer range ones, but that goal from Salo is very, very few players in the world can do that. And yeah, I think this is really sort of a show of strength from Liverpool, isn't it? And this is one of the toughest games they've got in this group phase, and they've come through it really, really well. And Van Dijk's goal as well. I'm sorry to bring it back to your nemesis, Pete, but at the beginning of it, when you see it happen in real time, it looks like, oh, he's just not been marked very well. Why have they left him free there? But then you look at the kind of movements he does, the kind of little jerks and the little feints and the little shimmies.
He was like putty in his hand. Squish.
Get out of the way. He makes that space himself in a way that is just absolutely top draw.
It's a brilliant header for so many reasons. The timing of it, the responsibility taken, the way he makes space for himself, Jim, as you rightly identify. And then the fact that he's actually, for a header, he's actually quite far out.
Yeah.
And it placed right in the corner at a key moment when, they need it. I say they need it. If you draw 2-2 to Atletico Madrid in the first game of the Champions League group phase, the way it is now, it's not the end of the world.
No.
But they want to win, right? And that's the 5th game in a row they've won.
Yeah, the hunger's there, isn't it?
Yeah, and I what I do think is interesting about it is the 3 games they've played this season where they've scored more than 1 goal, the game last night, the Newcastle game, the Bournemouth game, they seem to be pretty good at the 1-2 punch. Like, they score 2 goals early against Atletico Madrid. They follow up a goal with another goal. Then late on in the Bournemouth game as well, they don't only score to make it 3-2. They score again to make it 4-2.
And that's mentality, and that's just kind of like, as soon as you've scored, that's the most dangerous time to concede yourself, isn't it? Because they
almost did it again last night as well. And you're right to identify it, Luke. I wonder if it's a thing that they put particular focus on, because it's.
I'll tell you what I would love to identify. Simeone in the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
He was absolutely wailing.
Absolute Blanca from Street Fighter.
Yeah, because, they were making the point in commentary that he seemed very calm and he seemed very relaxed, and he did. And obviously that's not what we're here to see.
Yeah.
But he absolutely delivered at the end. He spent a lot of the time screaming at his own son in the game, which is very enjoyable when you can hear that.
I saw him do that. His son got nutmegged on the touchline right in front of him last season in the Champions League. I was at the game.
Clean your room.
And it was... It was like he was. He does this thing, Simeone, where he obviously gets really angry. He's really tempestuous, but he does a great thing that all tempestuous people and moody people, myself included, also do. Where if it goes too far and he's too annoyed by it, he just goes silent.
Yeah.
Like, almost a bit serene.
It happened last night with one of the players. I forget which Atletico player it was. Right on the touchline, right in front of him, let the ball slip under his foot, and he just went really still, and like just did a deep breath through his nose, and then just started clapping. But last night, the great thing about last night when he is obviously absolutely distraught about the winner, which is understandable. The fact that he's annoyed about it is understandable. Is that like a Liverpool fan can legitimately say that he got Simeone sent off? It's brilliant. Well, you've got a Champions League manager sent off. Get it on your LinkedIn. It's a fucking great claim to fame.
So it's the guy who looks a little bit like. He's got like a sort of gauty beard. He's a bit David Brent, isn't he? In the crowd, he's like the guy who's going. Ah. Now, something that hasn't been mentioned, I think it hasn't been mentioned, that I've done some googling around, and that fella's actually been banned from football matches for 3 years for shouting at a disabled supporter over Steven Gerrard banner, and caution for bringing smoke pellets into the DW Stadium.
Stop snitching on him.
I'm the one doing investigative journalism. No one else has mentioned this.
It's great work, that. The Athletic could do 5,000 words on that.
This is what it's come to. Let me in the Oval Office. I've got some questions to ask. Come on.
On the moodiness of tempestuous characters like that, Big Pav, famously for me anyway, Big Pav, I played football a lot and I know really well. He's a good friend.
He's a Ramble trop now.
He is. He's got the 7 moods of Luke Moore, basically, where he says, and they run from the following. They run from self-promotion, jovial, chatty, abuse, anger, Loud proclamations that quote "I'm done" and then silence.
Yeah.
I'll share with you the screenshot of the mood board he's written about me.
We'll see. We'll
and you want it up in your kitchen.
Yeah.
And we only ever see all 7 colours of the rainbow on tour usually in 1 hour.
I'll give them to you now if you want. Between now and the end of the show.
Fine. Yeah. Okay.
It's the only way I'm like Diego Simeone, because he's obviously achieved quite a lot in his career. So good on him. It was a game that didn't promise much from the start because of the early goals, but it did actually deliver. It was a really fascinating encounter. I loved seeing Conor Gallagher play for Atletico as well. He was all action, and it was a good thing.
Yeah, it was a good. I think it was a good performance from both teams. For one team to sort of get back into the game after that, and then for the other team to sort of put a good old fashioned centre back header into the mix for the final bit. It was the first time in Liverpool's Champions League history that they failed to name a single English player in the starting 11. I mean, I guess the Scousers, they don't regard themselves as being English anyway. So does that even count? Because the Steven Gerrard thing is. I'm just saying, they say that they're Scousers, aren't they? They're not English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You going with that, are you?
It's not my words. It's the words of the Liverpool fans. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, they do that. To be fair, they do say that.
Yeah.
They do say that. Not all of them. I'm sure all of them are very passionately behind England in tournaments and stuff like that.
Here's the other mood of Luke Moore, hanging Donaldson out to dry.
Yeah. Oh, that's not a mood. That's his permanent state.
Glee. Absolutely glee
I just
in his
find, sometimes I find it baffling how much you bring on yourself, and that's me saying that. That's me saying it.
I do think, Pete, you do have to take some responsibility in that.
No, I'm a toddler with a snow globe in my hand. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. All right, well, coming up after this, Nicholas Jackson's Bayern Munich, they've beaten Chelsea.
What's your go-to meal deal? I don't think I've ever had a meal deal.
What sandwich would you get? Like chicken,
Jam?
bacon?
I mean, it's a simple. You'd want something. Is a sandwich just a single filling concern these days? You can't have a single filling concern in 2025.
I love the idea that, like, Cole Palmer, notably one of the most famous young millionaires in the UK, is being asked about meal deals. Like, he doesn't need a meal deal. It's like asking him what it's like to drive a mini metro. He's not going to know.
I don't know, but he's closer to being like the age of 16 when he presumably was still eating meal deals and stuff like that. I don't know, like...
Yeah, but he'll have been in the academy system for a long time, won't he, right? So, like, players aren't like that anymore, sadly.
I think you're underestimating just how much young players get done for them. I mean, he would have had all his lunches done for him.
Yeah.
You think?
That's why he's so desperate to have a jam sandwich. He's not been allowed one.
Have you seen how many players are at Chelsea? It's like fucking Oliver in there. Can I have some more, please?
He was, by the way, also, I mean, I know why we're saying it because Jim's on the show, but Nicholas Jackson's Bayern Munich, right?
Yeah.
Right, came on in the 91st minute, did nothing.
Nicholas Jackson's Bayern Munich.
That's how big a player he is.
That's how big a player he is, yeah. Yes, Bayern Munich 3, Chelsea 1. Harry Kane's brace helping Bayern Munich defeat a pretty poor Chelsea at times.
Chelsea's attitude very much helping Bayern Munich defeat Chelsea.
They were kind of... I don't know, they after about 40, 50 minutes, there were just no further gears for Chelsea to use.
Yeah.
Whether it was Brentford, they were tired from Brentford, or they just sort of threw everything into this match. They went after Bayern in the press, but they were bloody blowing later in the game. They couldn't get the ball off them.
I can tell you from my own personal highly invested viewing experience that Bayern Munich away is quite a shit time. Right. So I think that is a factor as well. Also, to be fair to them,
I think it was just one of those nights for Chelsea. I think it was. Bayern Munich away is one of the toughest games you're going to get in the Champions League group stage for sure. Yeah, they've come away from it being beaten quite handily. They've been self-destructive. I mean, it's not you can't really afford, unless you're very fortunate, to make one error really, let alone 2 or 3. Yeah. I know the Chalobah thing is a bit unfortunate, maybe. The Caicedo challenge for Kane to get a penalty, the Kane scored a penalty, is just preposterous. And then Malo Gusto's brains falling out, right? you can't do that.
Yeah.
Really, probably, if they do that against... that Kazakh side that qualified, it's going to be really tough. And I understand Bayern Munich are probably going to argue they made a contribution to these errors because they're relentless. Yeah. But
the Gusto one comes from a good press, doesn't it? And also,
exactly,
it falls to Kane. And he's still got a bit to do, but that is hugely unfortunate from Chelsea's point of view, that falls to him there, and that he's got the quality to put it in. I mean, they've still got to stop it from happening, but that is one of those ones that's just like, that is a sickener.
Agreed,
I hope Harry Kane's 2 goals last night can go some way towards Bayern Munich because obviously he's now scored, I think, 95 goals for Bayern in 2 and a bit seasons.
Wow.
Maybe at some point they'll be renamed Harry Kane's Bayern Munich rather than I've not started a single game for Bayern Munich yet, and I've played 1 minute in the Champions League for them, but somehow the team's named after me.
Yeah, was it quite satisfying, Luke, as a Cucurella agnostic? I'm going to say charitably that he was.
I wish I could be a Cucurella atheist. I wish I could say there's no evidence.
There's no evidence of Mark Cucurella existing. Yeah.
There's too much. There is far too much.
I'm not against the prospect of a Mark Cucurella. As in principle, I just don't see any evidence of it in this realm.
That's a good point, actually. It would be nice if it existed. He was repeatedly destroyed by Michael Olise. He was just absolutely done.
There was one bit where Michael Olise was saying to him, "I don't even need to grab your hair. You're not causing me any problems whatsoever."
Yeah, I mean, Olise is an absolute nightmare assignment for anybody, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like the start he's had at Bayern. You know, he was phenomenal for them last season. I think there's a player there where you think he could be a sort of future Ballon d'Or contender. I think he's that good, and he's in such a good environment for it. So that is a horrendous situation to find yourself in.
He's still 23 years old.
I know. Yeah, it's mad. The first goal was quite a weird set of circumstances as well, wasn't it? Because Joshua Kimmich hit a free kick into the referee. Yeah, and was then given a drop ball, which led to the cross led to the cross that led to the own goal, which is again quite annoying, I would imagine, from a Chelsea perspective.
You've got to be. They're not going to say that in public because obviously Maresca is going to spend all of his time complaining about Jonathan Tah throwing hands in the build up to the Palmer goal. But behind the scenes, I'll tell you what he'll be saying though, Jim. It's a weird circumstance, but he'll be saying there's probably another 2 phases of play where we could have defended that better, right?
Yeah.
The fact is, it's weird, but there's necessarily a reset because that's the laws of the game now, and you get a chance to reset yourself as well. The problem is Cucurella's been, stuck in the toaster, popped up, had Olise spread all over him, and then Bayern Munich have eaten him for a little snack, right?
Little meal deal jam.
Charity begins at home.
The jam of Olise has been spread all over Mark Cucurella's hairy toast.
Exactly.
And you're munching on it.
Hairy toast. How far can we make the analogy go, Jim? Say something else.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to. I'm just thinking
he must wear a
I have no
hairnet
choice now but to think of the experience of eating hairy toast and how horrendous that would be. You're not getting that out of your mouth
like
for
a feature
ages.
on an episode of The Word.
It was indeed. I mean, talking about how Liverpool sort of played and how this is kind of indicative of how they've sort of started the season. Quite resilient, not playing their best football, but getting over the line and bagging the points. This one kind of felt for me, I know Marcus sort of said that it was a really sort of, it was almost a default run to the finals and then eventually winning the World Club Cup for Chelsea. Do you think that tournament sort of win kind of papers over some kind of Maresca-y cracks? Because they obviously played some really good stuff at the start of the run, and I sort of get the sense that he's sort of over-tightened up at the back, and the thread's gone, and sort of everyone's getting in. You know what I mean? He was very sort of quick to sort of say, we need to tighten up the back, we need to defend better, and that's kind of lost a bit of both their attacking impetus, and also it's just kind of let them leaky at the back again. So
not really, because they've not lost a game in the Premier League yet this season. They've gone to Bayern Munich away, Pete. I don't know how many times I have to say it. Jim said it as well now. It's really fucking hard. Yeah. So they've had an absolute meltdown. There's like 3 brain farts in the same game, right? Move on. Draw a line under it, move on.
Okay. Well, I don't have to.
No, you don't have to. I'm talking about Chelsea. If Chelsea are coming to me for advice, which they're never going to do, right? I don't even like them. Then there's no way they're going to come to me for advice. And that's even before you've take into account my output. They should draw a line under it and move on. Ride it off. They've got a game at Old Trafford at the weekend. Speaking of happy hunting grounds,
little palate cleanser.
But they don't always play very well at Old Trafford, Chelsea. So that's it. Might not be the happiest of hunting ground. I'm all about green shoots. I'm all about giving people flowers, but I just worry about them.
They've drawn a couple of games that you think they might have won as well. I think
they got pegged back against Brentford because of concentration again. So maybe they're thinking that.
Well, because of concentrating on this match, I presume. You know, they're kind of probably and who wouldn't concentrate on this match compared to Brentford?
Chelsea, by the looks of it.
I'm saying for now, Jim and Luke, Bayern Munich is actually quite a hard place to go and get some points. So,
do you remember that weird game? You're right to point out the fact that Chelsea's record at Old Trafford is an odd one, because I'm thinking of that game a couple of years ago where they got absolutely whooped by United at Old Trafford 4-1. But the thing with Chelsea and looking at records like that, Pete, is that there's such a turnover of staff.
Yeah.
Is there anybody left from Chelsea's last match on the field? Probably not, you would imagine. I mean, if you're going to look at the positives for Chelsea, as I said, difficult place to go. Bayern Munich, as we said, hairy jam sandwich. Cole Palmer did come back and scored on his 100th Chelsea appearance, so it's good to see him back and being amongst the goal.
Yeah, it was a great finish as well, wasn't it? And fine work from Malagusto that will be forgotten. Means bad taste in Italian, I think, Malagusto.
Really?
He's French, so it's fine. But that always strikes me as weird whenever I see the guy. It was a lovely finish from Palmer, wasn't it? And actually, he had a goal ruled out, and rightly so, because he was slightly offside. But again, the finish on it was first time, and he makes really difficult things look so easy.
And for him to sort of come back like that and be in that kind of form is really satisfying.
They need him firing as well.
Yeah, they do, and they will probably get him. Manuel Neuer became just the fourth player in history to win 100 Champions League games. I mean, an astonishing record.
Neuer is, I don't know if you saw Eric Dyer's comments about Neuer playing with him at Bayern Munich. He was on Ben Foster's podcast,
right,
and he was talking about how. I'm paraphrasing it because I can't remember the exact detail, but he was saying that obviously Eric Dyer's had quite a long career himself, and he was like, I've never seen a goalkeeper do what Manuel Neuer does. It was ridiculous, and he's the best goalkeeper of all time by miles, and I'll challenge anyone who questions it. He said that
forthright.
Yeah. Said that Neuer he'd just stay at training after training. So what happens is apparently that when players want to practice free kicks or shooting or whatever towards the end of a training session, they normally use like a reserve keeper or a youth team keeper, or whatever, because it works both ways. And Dyer was saying like Neuer was insisting on being in goal for it, even though he's like 38 or something.
Are all the sub keepers absolute shit because they just haven't got any practice.
They're not even allowed to train.
In fact, he's 39 now. He's just turned 39. Neuer. Wow, amazing. Well, Amazing career. I mean, he's revolutionised the goalkeeping position as well, as you're contractually obliged to say when you're talking about Manuel Neuer.
Completely agree. Bayern Munich's Nicholas Jackson, or Nicholas Jackson's Bayern Munich, as they are known. Their football player, Nicholas Jackson, his agent has said that he will never return to Chelsea following his loan move to Bayern Munich. Apparently, he would have to play at least 45 minutes in 40 games this season to make the move permanent. That's a lot of juice, really. That's a lot of games and options to use him in, surely.
That is simply not going to happen.
There's an amazing Uli Hoeneß quote about it. Did you see it, Jim? But Uli Hoeneß, who's still a board member at Bayern Munich, despite his various indiscretions, was on some chat show, and he was like, the loan fee is this amount, and we have to make it permanent if he plays 40 games. But it was like the old Antonio Conte meme, will never happen.
Yeah.
It's like really smug about it, in a way that only a Bayern Munich executive could be smug.
Yeah, I mean, so,
that smugness.
They've got him on loan. If it works for them, great. Who knows with Chelsea? Maresca might be 2 or 3 managers ago by the time this season ends, however well they do. Just watch this space. More Nicholas Jackson chat.
Nicholas Jackson's agent can say what he likes, but I mean, if Bayern Munich don't trigger that, he will literally have to go back to Chelsea. So unless he wants to do some kind of Alex Isak thing, which I presume... I suppose he could do.
It would be an underwhelming pastiche of the original, wouldn't it?
Unless you're Jim Campbell, where you'd be gripped by it.
Chelsea have a whole other team who've got their own training ground and their own changing room where these outcasts go. They go into this sort of kind of negative zone, don't they? So there might still be a place for Nicholas Jackson back at Chelsea. It just might not be one he likes very much.
Yeah, completely agree. Elsewhere in the Champions League debutants, Bodø Glimt scored a 90th minute equaliser to take a point away from Slavia Prague. A great start to their Champions League career.
It was brilliant. It was such a good finish as well, and obviously Slavia Prague are absolutely gutted by that because you're thinking that has to you have to win that. You have to win that one at home if you've got any chance of causing an upset here. But it's a brilliant goal, and they are the sort of like just the little hipster train that could, aren't they? Bodø Glimt. They just keep producing in these moments. It's great to see them in the Champions League, and great for them to get that point.
Yeah, I mean, like a volley as well. Just fantastic stuff. Did you see actually that AS Monaco went to Bruges for their Champions League match, I think 2 days ago? It got cancelled because of an air conditioning issue on the plane, and all of the players took their clothes off.
All the Monaco players emerging semi-nude from this plane.
Sounds so sexy.
It was so sexy.
Imagine if you were on that flight, how insecure you'd feel.
Oh, can you imagine? Yeah, like I once went with karaoke with 3 wrestlers, professional wrestlers, and they all took their shirts off to try and.
You love getting your shirt off, Donaldson.
I know, but like the pictures, they were not flattering.
No,
just gigantic muscular wrestlers and me.
You'd have the best nipples though.
I'd have exactly. Yeah, you could do moves off my nipples, I imagine. Nipple manoeuvres.
The biggest danger for you in that situation was a couple of those wrestlers might think your nipples are the top turnbuckle.
Money in the bank. Stop pulling on it.
Prominent.
Yeah.
But I'd be. I mean, I don't know what temperature it would get to on that plane. I'd be putting a jumper on. I'd be doing all sorts.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sucking in the paunch and I'm pretending everything's fine.
Yeah. I mean,
just like normal.
You would put your clothes back on as you were departing, though, wouldn't you? As you were disembarking the plane.
Well, none of them seem to.
No.
Are you suggesting that there was maybe a bit of kind of, they were enjoying showing off?
If everyone's got in their like tighty whities, I'm getting completely Billy bollocks. It's an arms race for crying out loud.
Keep your socks on.
An arms race.
An arms race. Yeah. But what you could do a Red Hot Chili Peppers of the 90s, put a sock over the old
exactly.
meat.
Yes. Yeah. Good shout. Not a football sock though. Very unflattering look, I imagine.
No, just a tiny little kind of tennis pop sock.
Yeah. Little ankle sock.
Little ankle sock. Yeah. PSG thumped Ivan Juric's Atalanta 4-0. Did you see Kvaratskhelia solo effort? It was an absolute peach. Goal of the week.
Yeah, lovely hit on it as well. He's obviously carried the ball quite a long way, but the way he kind of gets some spin on the I'm going to call it a thwack.
He put
some real finesse on it. Can we step back to appreciate the sentence Ivan Juric's Atalanta?
Yeah.
How's he a Champions League manager? That is absurd. He looks like he lives in his car and he manages like it as well.
The remarkable thing about Juric, because people would have, people listening to this maybe would be most familiar with him when he just came over to Southampton for a bit and did absolutely nothing. Did worse than nothing. Because there was nothing that could be done.
Yeah.
The way he probably got the most likely way he got that Atalanta job off the back of that is because he's just talked about what a great bloke he is for doing charity work in the south coast of England.
He got his Duke of Edinburgh.
But the thing is, I suppose, like a lot of people say, who know much more about this than me, say that Juric is a disciple of Gianpiero Gasperini,
right?
Who did amazing things at Atalanta across the best part of 10 years.
Right.
And so I guess maybe there's something at play there where they say, okay, we'll just get the next best thing.
He's Atalanta's
without really
Bob
looking
Paisley.
at him, listening to him, or observing anything he's done in the last year.
He's always got a tab on the go as well, so even the stench wouldn't be pleasant.
Imagine like walking into a really high-powered job and just going, we could talk about qualifications, or we could talk about how much I am a disciple of your previous CFO. All right, start Monday.
Fine.
Yeah, let's do that.
Speaking from his bin.
Going back to Kvaratskhelia goal, it's not just what he does, it's just the way he does it. He's just one of the most stylish players in world football. He's got a technique that's all of his own. It's great to watch. It's a Zlatan/Berbatov type technique that people just love to watch. It's a laconic, stylish way of working, and it belies the fact that he's a really hard-working, effective player at the very top level,
and also a fast dribbler as well. Which obviously, Berbatov and Zlatan Ibrahimovic were not really those things. Certainly towards the latter end of their career, which we maybe remember a bit more clearly.
Right, but it's a style that looks like it wouldn't necessarily work, but it just does work.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. He's such a fun player to watch, and actually PSG. Marquinhos got the first goal, just popped up as a centre forward. Nuno Mendes had a couple of shots and scored a goal as well, didn't he? The way that their defenders contribute to the attack is very, very enjoyable.
Well, we'll touch on the Champions League fixtures happening tonight in the next part of the show. But before that, in the Carabao Cup, Swansea City came back from 2-0 down to beat Nottingham Forest 3-2 in the 97th minute. What a situation, what a goal. It just had everything. This little sort of passage of play at the end of the match, and Swansea City are going through and coming back from 2-0 down against a Premier League side. Astonishing, Luke.
Yeah, I think it's. The scene is so typically Ange. It's one of those. It's hard to explain, I suppose, but Postecoglou has this habit of making, I think, quite strange decisions where he doesn't seem to want. And maybe it'll be unfair because he's at a new club now. There's nothing to suggest that it'll just be exactly the same. Yeah. He is the reigning Europa League winning manager, so he needs respect for that, of course. But when you look at some of the decisions in this game, it feels not just ill-advised, but like totally almost unnecessary. Igor Jesus scores a couple of goals. That's important, right? He's a player that they've put a lot of stock in. They've wanted him in there. He's now got off the mark and scored goals. Having scored goals in the Club World Cup, right? It's an exciting signing. They go into the half-time break 2-0 up, right? There's no need to, after an hour, take off two ostensibly quite defensive-minded midfield players in Douglas Luiz and Dylan Bakwa and bring on Gibbs, White and Hudson-Odoi. Neither of those players need run-outs, right? Yeah. You don't need to give them half an hour. These are established Premier League campaigners, right? You cede control of the game. 5 minutes after that, you concede the first goal from Swansea, and then the two goals they conceded injury time. And I suppose the second one of the two is a fucking great hit, and is a situation that obviously Forest could have managed better, but it's a great goal. But they shouldn't even be any opportunity to do it. You're 2-0 up against a lower league side. And not just a lower league side, who have started the season pretty well, right? They're a team who are I think they've only lost one of their 5 games. They don't score a huge amount of goals, but they've done well, right? They're on a kind of undefeated streak for the last 4 games in the Championship. Don't give them the opportunity. Yeah. It just seems baffling. And the problem is, I suppose, it's obviously you can read too much into it, and maybe it's just one of those things like the Chelsea Bayern Munich thing was or whatever. But Postecoglou's got a narrative about him. Don't feed into that narrative. It's just weird. I don't know what he said after the game, so I didn't see it because there's a lot of football last night. But if he starts saying stuff like, it's just who I am, it's just who we are, it's like, you shouldn't really be who you are against the fucking Swansea side you were 2-0 up against. It's frustrating from a Forest fan's point of view.
From an aesthetic point of view, the third goal, Swansea's third goal, was fantastic because someone's smacked it off the woodwork, and quite often you're lamenting what would have been there. But the goal goes in from the rebound from also from quite far out. It's proper pinball stuff.
A lovely stroke into the.
It was great. And you know what? One thing I forgot to say on the Ange thing, I totally agree with you, Jim. But going back to the Ange thing very quickly. He's really, really bad at inviting these narratives onto himself. And when he was Spurs manager, they had a really good start, and he was a breath of fresh air, and he would given idiot, press conference questioners short shrift. No problem with that, fine. But it got tempestuous, and it got a little bit confrontational because he can't help but be so painfully honest that it gives him pressure. And he's done it again. Why has he done it again? Because he said in this press conference last week, or at the start of the week, whenever it was at the weekend, that, I might have to win a trophy this season to stay in the job for a second year, to do my thing where I win trophies in the second year. Well, guess what? You're not winning the fucking League Cup now. So what other things do you think you're going to win?
Well, new tournaments are sprouting up all over the place.
Watch him pick up the FA Cup and the Europa League now.
Yeah, exactly. Damn right. He knows the tournament.
I'm just trying to share the frustration of Forest fans that they'll be feeling, because it's an opportunity, isn't it? Nothing hits harder than when you go out in the League Cup in that circumstance, when you're kind of a Premier League team that could be targeting that competition.
Oh, absolutely, especially because they're in a purple patch now, Forest, right? You know, they've not really been a Premier League team for that long in the grand scheme of things, and obviously getting into Europe is a massive thing. But there's been so much churn there. There's a brilliant squad, all the same, that they're still getting to grips with, and you've got to be looking at this with some excitement and some impetus, right? And you're so right. It is a disaster, really, to go out of this competition now.
Yeah. Completely agree. All right, coming up after this, Barcelona are coming to St James's Park. Welcome back to the Football Ramble. Pete, Jim and Luke with you. We spoke about, I don't think it was the last show, it might be the show before that. We spoke about Jamie Vardy linking up with Benito Mussolini's great-grandson, Romana.
For God's sake.
Cremonese on Ramble and Cut a few weeks ago. It turns out that Vardy has actually moved to the town where Mussolini himself used to live, Salo, which is a beautiful sort of river-sized town, I suppose.
They're just coincidences, aren't they? Why are we drawing
why are we tarring the Vardys with this brush?
The terrible line of history between these 2 points.
I know. But I mean, it's a beautiful place to be, but I cannot wait until Colleen Rooney gets there and starts solving some Lombardy-based crimes.
Oh, yeah, like she's got the Death in Paradise gig, which presumably for an actor is an amazing gig.
Yeah, because it's just constant travel, isn't it? Yeah,
I will get on board with drawing the comparisons between Jamie Vardy and Benito Mussolini when Jamie commits his first atrocity, and not before.
Right. Well, he had a few minutes on the pitch at the weekend, but didn't manage to get on the score sheet. So it's as close to an atrocity you're going to get, I'm afraid, until Sunday when the next play.
He's also started apparently learning all the Italian swear words, which is like the most obvious Jamie Vardy thing that's ever going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, do you remember that he would always kind of look at what opponents... or what the nationality of the opponents he was about to face were, and he would learn swear words in their languages. So I imagine he's kind of a little bit adept at this already, but it's good to know that he's starting with the fun bits, really.
It's just remarkable that the Sun newspaper have covered Jamie Vardy at Cremonese, and the angle they've gone for is this thing about how he's learnt how to swear. But it is quite weird to think of that in a story in the Sun about Jamie Vardy, the following sentence is contextually acceptable. The mustachioed fascist leader remained at the property until shortly before his capture and execution as he attempted to escape the country in 1945. That's contextually acceptable in the story about Jamie Vardy in 2025.
Was he mustachioed? I thought he was completely bare-lipped.
It's a really good point.
Because my dad looks a bit like Mussolini, and when he would shave off his moustache, he used to look like Mussolini. Which I
can't find a single photo in Google Images of Mussolini with a moustache. So the Sun they've
got confused about their fascist dictators, and they should know better because. Apparently, Vafanculo is his current favourite, which I believe means fuck or fuck you. So.
I think it's more go fuck yourself, isn't it? Which is
go fuck yourself.
Ideal for us.
Yeah,
and long-term Ramble listeners.
Mamma mia. Go fuck yourself, Mamma
Mia. Is that what you've got, Dawson?
No, that's what Scott McTominay would shout. Mamma mia, he's caught on a long lens shouting Mamma mia.
Yeah.
That's why I brought that up.
Missed the chance, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. His ex-club, Manchester United, Marcus Link there, they've posted record commercial revenues despite suffering their worst start to a Premier League season since 1992-1993. The revenue marginally increased by 0.7% to the number of a beast, 666.5 million, but they still do owe an overall loss of 33 million. That's doable, isn't it, Jim? That's doable.
Yeah, you'd think so, but it's quite amazing that they can, bring in revenues of the number of the beast and a bit, as you point out, and still lose 33 million quid. But it just shows that they're basically like a money factory, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's absolutely astonishing the amount of money that they can trouser just from the quality of their kind of global reach. And it is to be applauded, isn't it? But it also makes it baffling that they find everything else this hard.
I would just add, Jim, that it's clear that United emerging from a period of structural and leadership change with a refreshed, streamlined organisation equipped to deliver on their sporting and commercial objectives is a really positive step, and to have generated record revenues during such a challenging year for the club just demonstrates the resilience which is a hallmark of Manchester United as they start to feel the benefit of their cost reduction programme.
Have you been contacted by an Indian PR company at all?
It's just, Pete, it just happens to be what I think.
It's just fact,
happens to be my opinion on this matter. Okay. And I just think that there is still significant potential for improved financial performance, which in turn should support their overriding priority, Pete and Jim and everyone listening.
I can see his Rolex
on the pitch
peeking out of his shirt.
Ruben Amorim in tears. That's our overall success, our priority.
Well done, Ruben's crying. The overall number of employees has dropped from 1,100 to 700 in the past 2 years. I mean, for a turnover like 6.5 million, a workforce of 1,100, that's presumably full-time staff, including players. That's not bad, is it? That's not bad. You wouldn't mind that profit margin?
No, I'd be thrilled with it.
Well, they're not making a profit margin, are they? Because they're worth 33 million quid.
No, exactly. Good point.
I think they do mind that profit margin.
Right, fine.
The only difference being that I suppose the year before that, they lost over 100 million quid. So it might... I mean, what's quite funny is that the overall loss of 33 million is essentially almost exactly the same figure as the quote-unquote exceptional items they've had to shell out the last year or two last year because they had to get rid of Big Eric.
Yeah. Who's also had another similar payout from Bayer Leverkusen. He is...
His profit margin is incredible.
Own very specific, weird way, is absolutely crushing it.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because you think to yourself, we don't think Erik ten Hag's a very successful bloke. And you think, isn't he?
Yeah.
Who's laughing here?
Because his accountant, failing upwards.
Because he is hoovering it up. Absolutely hoovering it up. And he clearly doesn't give a shit.
No.
Yeah.
It's the Steve
He'll probably
Bruce
get
move.
another job, right?
Yeah, you're right, Luke. You're absolutely right. The man is the man we should all hope to be. Tonight in the Champions League, it's a big one. I cannot wait for this.
I can't believe you're not going.
I can't afford it. And some Dundee children
Oh, we just had
took
a
my
tax
ticket.
bill, isn't it?
It's
always this time of year.
Always this
is that
time
what
of year.
It is?
It's pretty much constant when you have to ring them and ask to pay a little bit off every month.
You can't be seen to be enjoying Newcastle Champions League games after the competitions you've had.
HMRC will see me. Yes, Newcastle United versus Barcelona tonight at 8 p.m. Newcastle have cancelled the 45 tickets that were given to a school in Dundee for the fixture. It's just heartening to see a private school in Scotland having loads of tickets to take their children to.
Do you think this is some sort of class project about slightly nefarious enterprise?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't really know what the...
what happened was they bought it off a non-official supplier and had the tickets cancelled, right?
I believe it was, some mass market reseller. And obviously these tickets have come out of season ticket holders. And you'd think that like big companies, and I'm presuming Man United would have a crack at this, the whole sort of reseller market, don't most clubs have a piece of that these days?
That's the point, though. I think a lot of them... I'm pretty sure Spurs do this as well. If you're not going to take your ticket for that particular game, you put it back on the exchange via the club and they sell it at face value.
That's right.
And I presume, I don't know because I've not ever bought a ticket for Newcastle United, but I presume it's the same. Yeah. This one is a rogue unofficial seller, so they just cancelled it. And it just so happens that it's a story because a load of kids can't go to the game.
Yeah. I mean, they're in Dundee. It's not like, I imagine private schools in Newcastle would probably also want a slice of that pie. But can you imagine how much money they spent for those tickets? Good God.
I don't think it's anything to do with the fact it's a private school, Peter. I think it just happens to be a private school.
Right.
It's a school outing that is now, and also don't ever go to Dundee. Oh, they're in Dundee.
School outing,
but they should get some kind of terrible letdown because they're in Dundee.
200 miles away. Why are they going to Newcastle? They went to the Champions League game against AC Milan in 2023.
You're 200 miles away. Why do you go to Newcastle? Well, you're not being chased by the tax man. You don't want your face to be seen on camera. Why are you going?
Leave my Jimmy Carr tax swindles alone.
I'll tell you what. You snitched on that Liverpool fan earlier as well. Your chicken's about to come home to roost, boy.
No. I didn't name him.
No. You just made it very easy to find his name, though, right?
Very easy to find his name. He's literally tweeting, "Do I get an assist for that?" So
my answer is
probably
absolutely.
Across it.
Absolutely, you do.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, Newcastle United's new centre forward Nick Voltemada has moved into a new house with his friends from back home from Germany. Oh,
great
German
stuff.
friends!
Yeah, it is great stuff. Because he's also made a lot of noise about how he's single, and that's a sort of proud tradition among Newcastle players, isn't it?
Yes.
Very specifically Andy Carroll.
On a day that Tino Asprey has been marketing a new bit of merch. Very, very on brand.
Yeah, I know, right?
I tell you what, though, the people who are now going to be living next door to Nick Voltemada and his German friends are going to be in for a rude awakening, because I've got several friends that have spent a lot of time living in Germany. Oh, and the neighbours, they do not like you not doing things by the rules, I'm telling you. I was at my friend's house in Munich once, visiting, when his neighbour knocked on the door, genuinely, to complain that his leaves had blown into his neighbour's garden.
They're leaves, for crying out loud.
And he also got reported to the local council for because his neighbour spied a completely different neighbour, by the way, spotted him putting accidentally some recycling in the wrong bin.
Right, okay.
So strap yourselves in.
What is the word for NIMBYism in German? That's what I want to know. They're the words I want to learn. Yeah, Voltemada says, as you said, neither of us has a girlfriend, so we're pretty free in that regard. Pretty free in that regard. I mean, we've had footballers, I'm not going to name them, but there was a certain defender I can remember from times past that I was told who moved over, one of Kevin Keegan's lot, moved over from Europe and... probably narrowing it down now, moved on from Europe and told his wife that he couldn't find a house, but at the same time was having a nice time in Newcastle.
It was easier to do that kind of thing in the 90s, would you say?
Oh, massively. No camera phones, no paper trail. Enjoy it.
The amount of men in the 80s that appeared to have completely extra families.
Like extra lives.
Yeah.
I can't maintain this family, to be honest.
I know someone who found out when he was about 21 that his dad had a whole other family of like 3 girls.
Oh my God.
Nice, yeah.
And he had like 3 other sisters.
I used to go out with someone whose dad had an affair and had a child and moved his family next to the affair situation and child, and none of them knew that they were related.
And you've not had that many girlfriends, so I know most of the girlfriends you've had. So
I know, right? Wild.
That's narrowed it down.
Yeah, imagine me dealing with the emotional fallout of that. I wasn't built for that.
That's why you're not together anymore, presumably.
That's why I'm not together anymore. Correct.
That's why you're always in your shed.
Are you excited about this football match, gentlemen? Because you obviously saw them play incredibly well against PSG at St James's Park a couple of seasons ago, and. Yeah, I mean, like, you had a fantastic time there. I was unable to attend, unfortunately, due to some adoption muck that I go through at Southend Council. But you had a good time, and it's going to be a similar night tonight, isn't it? What an opener.
One of my best moments, because in a week where I'm still dealing with the fallout of criticising Martin Zubimendi, it's easy to forget that actually on national TV, ahead of Newcastle's first home Champions League game for many years against PSG, I was the only one. And I was in the company of Andy Brassel. I was in the company of Marcus Speller. I was in the company of Jules Breach. On national TV, I said Newcastle win the game. I was the only one, and I was mocked. I was derided.
Loki, good on you.
And it came to pass.
Needless to say,
I think Barcelona will win tonight.
Did you see Breachy just behind the dugout yesterday in the Liverpool fixture at Anfield?
It did look like she was sat on the Liverpool bench, didn't it?
It did. I thought she was going to come on. Brilliant.
If I had my way, she'd be presenting the whole damn jamboree.
Damn right. Speaking of tall Newcastle strikers, before we go, Andy Carroll has made his debut for Dagenham and Redbridge at the weekend. He was given the captain's armband, but he did get sent off just before half-time for elbowing a footballer in the head while jumping for the ball. Look, when you're that tall, you don't know what your elbows are doing, surely.
By now, you would think he'd have figured it out, though, right?
He hasn't got a lot of games under his belt, though, compared to a lot of footballers his age.
I think it's the football equivalent of the hand shelf, Pete, among us tall people.
Oh, like, do you think he was going for a hand shelf and it just slipped and damaged someone?
Talk me through the hand shelf.
So basically, a few years ago now, Pete just did that thing he normally does, where he's really annoyed about something, but doesn't say anything for ages, and then it just explodes. We've done some photos together, and he said he hates it when tall people put their hand on his shoulder because he finds it passive aggressive. I'm not a hand shelf, he said. Yeah. But when the reason that applies to tall, I think it's fair enough. I was just unaware of it. I was blissfully unaware. Yeah. The point being that when it comes to tall players playing football matches, sometimes they're trying to get momentum, and their elbow happens to be the same latitude as a little fella's smaller player's face, right? So it can be that you can be a victim of that. I'm not defending. I'm absolutely not defending Andy Carroll in this situation, but it's worth considering. It's also worth considering that Dagenham and Redbridge's manager is Pompey legend. What's a rung on the ladder below legend?
Cult classic.
Luminary.
Yeah.
Luminary.
Pompey luminary. It still feels too grandiose. The pride of cows on the Isle of Wight, Lee Bradbury's managing them.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
So he's done an amazing tour of managing South Coast clubs, because for a year, I think it was, he managed AFC Bournemouth. Right?
Oh wow.
They were down their uppers. He was playing for them. And he took over them to caretaker manager. Do you remember when Eddie Howe went to Burnley but then came back? He managed them for that period. Then he went Havant and Waterloo. He's done Eastbourne Borough. He's done Eastleigh, which is kind of South Coast. And now he's gone off to Dagenham, which is obviously nowhere near the South Coast. But it was interesting to see him as manager at Dagenham and Redbridge. I completely forgot about him.
All the while through that career writing some excellent sci-fi books.